Welcome to the Songwriter Connection, the podcast that delves deep into the art and heart of songwriting. Each week, we gather around the dining room table to uncover the stories behind the songs. We invite you to join us on a journey to the creative minds of the songwriters who shape the melodies of our lives. From Nashville, Tennessee, here's your host, Dave Lenahan.
Thank you, songwriters, friends of songwriters, and fans of songs. I appreciate you joining us once again. We're going to have an incredible conversation today as we get in depth on AI and what it's doing for the industry. This is the first time I've had a chance to talk to you since we're recording this now in mid-December for a mid-February release. We were pretty far ahead, so we're in the Christmas time right now as we record this. And last Friday, we did a season celebration and 3 million stream celebration. We did a live show at the local, and that is streaming out there. If you weren't there, we even have video of it on my YouTube page for Songwriter Connection. Randy Brooks was my guest. We talked about Grandma got run over by a reindeer, and also Mark Allen Barnett, and we just had a wonderful time. We're looking forward to doing more live shows at the local. It's just a great place. It was a great audience, and I thank all of you that came. And if you didn't, like I said, you can watch the video, and maybe you've seen it by now. This morning, I was doing my workout, and I was listening to the last time our guest was on our show, and it was still during COVID, because we talked about getting our COVID shots. And it was in season 1, episode 21, I think, and he's back. I've been wanting to have him back ever since. It was one of my favorite conversations back when we were doing seasons, not just one continuous release every week like we do on Wednesdays. Trey Ackerman is back with us. Hi, Trey. How are you, buddy?
Man, I'm
you looking well?
Yeah, feeling good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So many cool things happen in your life. You got a little granddaughter that you just adore, and I love the pictures you post. And
yeah. Two little sweeties.
Two little sweeties.
Yeah. Come to find out, I think we should have had our grandchildren first.
Isn't that the way it should go? Yeah.
They're dolls. They're 3 and 1.5.
Oh my goodness.
Just a fabulous age. You know?
Wonderful. And you surely look happy. You really do.
Yeah. Thank you.
You do so many cool things. And if you didn't get to hear that episode, I'll just tell you a little bit about Trey Ackerman. He's a multi-instrumentalist. He is also a walking encyclopedia of country music knowledge because he grew up around it. He grew up on the Opry. He grew up on Hee Haw, where his dad, Trey, your dad was a fantastic drummer, right? The Hee Haw drummer, but also one of the first to play drums on the Opry when it was forbidden to have drums, right?
Well, he was a staff drummer. I think he was the second staff drummer on the Grand Ole Opry after Buddy Harmon. Yeah. And he was the first to kind of introduce the full set of drums as a full-time.
Because prior to that, it was just like a little snare.
Just a snare drum.
And then they had to hide it right away.
To come out with the snare drum, do the song, and then take it back behind the curtain kind of a deal, yeah.
So and he played not only on the Opry, but he was the drummer for Hee Haw, right?
He was the drummer for Hee Haw, yeah. The only staff drummer for the show, the entire run of the show, which was like 24 years, I think.
The most incredible story I remember was the Furlan Husky story, how he was on the road with Furlan for years.
Yeah.
And Furlan said, listen, you can make a lot more money I'll let you tell the story.
Yeah, well, Furlan cornered me at the Musicians Union downtown, Nashville music circle, and had told me, when people find out I'm Willie's son, that my father's name is Willie Ackerman.
Willie Ackerman.
Yeah, it tickles him because he was such a character.
Yeah.
And so Furlan had told me that, your dad was my drummer out on the road, and I told him, Willie, you're too good to be doing this on the road. You'll make a lot more money if you just be a studio drummer. And he said, no, man, you gave me this job fresh out of high school. I think he dropped out and he went back and got his GED, but he didn't do his senior year in high school. As a junior, he went out on the road with Furlan Husky.
Wow.
Yeah. And said, I'm loyal to you, man. I'm sticking with you. And Furlan said, so I fired him.
In that case, you're fired, my friend.
And so Dad went on to play... Oh gosh, probably 10,000 recording sessions or so.
He was on some big records,
he was the drummer on Ring of Fire with Johnny Cash and Coal Miner's Daughter with Loretta.
El Paso
and tumbleweeds, a lot of Marty Robbins stuff, all, the Willie Nelson's Yesterday's Wine album, for example, all that early stuff. Good Hearted Woman with Waylon.
Isn't that crazy?
And I've Been Everywhere with Hank Snow.
And many times you were in the studio while that was happening as a kid.
Yeah, as a kid, Dad would take me, his number one son, is what he would always say.
Number one.
Yeah, only son. Take me into the studio, and I would, as a kid, and I'd either lay on the floor in the drum booth, and they'd give me headphones, and I'd listen to them cut records, or I'd go into the control room and listen in the control room.
What an education!
Whatever was less smoky, because they smoked. Everybody chain smoked.
That's what they did,
and it hung in the air like layers of clouds up in the sky. If you're flying an airplane, it was like just layers,
a couple weeks ago doing the radio show, we talked about Waylon going in for bypass surgery, and they were saying in this article, and I reported it on Nashville Connection, the radio show, that he said he was smoking between 5 and 6 packs of cigarettes a day.
Oh yeah, man, I was the kid. In between takes, they'd be throwing change at me to run over to the cigarette machine and get them another pack of cigarettes. Back when they had those machines, you drop couple of quarters in and you pull the knob and the pack would come out.
A couple of quarters back then.
Oh yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
And you're addicted, because he was also addicted, Waylon, to pinball, and I'm sure a lot of quarters went into the pinball machine.
Dad was addicted to pinball.
Was he too?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He had to have elbow surgery. He was so addicted to pinball.
Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding. Back before arcades.
Yeah.
You go to the mall and there was an arcade. I know a lot of young folks are listening, but this is in the 80s, I guess. You go to the mall and they didn't really have the arcades. You'd have to go. Dad would go to the airport here in Nashville, and they had a room that had about 6 different video games and stuff, and he'd get $100 worth of change and go out there and just play. And he would play pinball when he was in high school, back when it was illegal to play pinball.
It used to be illegal.
It was illegal.
Yeah.
So
he was
still, he was a beatnik kind of guy, a drummer. And
we clicked the finger.
I still get checks for a song called Beatnik's Wish that was recorded in like 1958, 1959. And it's a beatnik Christmas carol.
Oh my!
Oh yeah!
Wow!
It's amazing, and I still get money for that. It's big over in Germany every year.
Wow!
Interestingly enough, so.
But
yeah, that's so funny. You should say that. That was a thing, and Dad was certainly a lot of fun to be around. He was so much fun. He bought a limousine.
Yeah,
and a real limo.
Limo.
A stretch Cadillac limousine.
Yeah,
and when people would come to town, they'd hook them up with Dad, and Dad would show them a good time.
Okay.
And it would be dignitaries, it would be space shuttle pilots, it would be, Vice President Mondale, it would be... Oh, I'm not kidding.
Wow.
It would be Oliver North, if you remember Colonel
I do remember.
North.
I did a radio show. He used our studios in Cincinnati, and we were facing each other in the studio while he was doing his show and I was doing mine, and we're making faces, trying to make each other laugh.
Oh, yeah. It would be Andre the Giant.
Yeah, wow.
It would be some of the folks from Hee Haw. Dad would call... I was living with him. I was done with college, and I was living up here, and I was working as a musician full-time and doing odd gigs. I was touring with Kitty Wells as a drummer, or I was filling in for Dad on Hee Haw when he couldn't get up in the morning from partying too much. And he'd call, the phone would ring, I'd answer the phone, no caller ID, and he'd go, "Hey son, what are you doing?" "Nothing." "Good, drive me around the limo." I'm like, Christ.
So Trey Ackerman plays all these different instruments: drums, guitar, piano. Piano was your first, right?
Piano was first.
Yeah. And Grandma taught you how to play guitar.
Yeah.
Love that. And you do all of that, and you host shows around town. You play a lot of writers around you. You're an amazing writer.
Yeah.
Also a bourbon aficionado. In fact, you really turned me on to a lot of great bourbons.
It's an art.
It is an art.
It's another art, and I just appreciate it so much. I appreciate what goes into it, and there's time.
Yeah.
You don't just make it, and you have a product. You have to make it,
right,
and then barrel it, and pay taxes on it. They pay taxes on it for years, 7, 8, 10, 15, 20 years. And hope you have a good product at the end, that it didn't all evaporate. And I find that so interesting, what they have to go through. But yeah, in addition to all that, Add limo driver to the recipe.
We'll add limo driver too. So there we go.
Yeah.
Wow, what a Now you brought some bourbon today. Do we want to talk about that right now before we get into our discussion?
So I want you to taste it. Let's,
okay.
We'll do a
well, that's good.
Before I tell you what it is, you just taste it.
Just take a taste. Okay.
Tell me what you think first.
All right. I don't even want to know. Just a little taste. I've really
let it swirl it around. Let it breathe just a second and smell it. Give it a good smell. Ooh. It smells good, doesn't it?
You know, I wrote a song recently with a friend called Amber and Oak. Because
that's it right there. That bourbon right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Let's take a sip. Ooh, smells so good. Ooh.
That's a sip going down. You got to take a second sip. Let it rest, and get. There you go.
I almost inhaled it.
Get one more little sip.
One more sip.
The second sip is where you get the flavor. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, Bourbon of the Year last year, or 2025 Bourbon of the Year, Frank August.
Frank August.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to buy me some of these.
Yeah. I'll leave you that bottle. I got another one.
Will?
You know what? When you find Bourbon of the Year, you don't buy one, you buy two.
You do. You do. Yeah.
One to share and one to keep for yourself.
So I went to my favorite place around the corner, and I was looking. I really like Angel's Envy these days because it's bourbon, but they age it in a wine barrel. And so they had a special one there, and I looked. I said, "What's the difference between that one and the one you got on the shelf?" She said, "Well, that one's $200."
Oh yeah.
I said, "I'll take the one on the shelf." Here's to you, brother. Thanks for being back on the show. You've got the Bourbon Cowboy glass.
Bourbon Cowboy.
Bourbon Cowboy.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Here's to you.
It's apple. It's green. You got a green apple flavor in there.
I do kind of get that.
Yeah, it's a green apple and some raisin, maybe.
Maybe some raisin.
Yeah.
Yes. Delicious. Love sipping me some bourbon.
Yeah, and that's. I just think that's a great bourbon. I keep it on the counter and make hot toddies with it.
Do you?
Yeah.
My favorite thing in the winter. Man,
and then
cold.
And then I just like to open the lid and smell it because it smells so good.
It smells so good.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about this. You not only you do all those great things, but you aren't happy just doing that. You also studied computers, right? You went to college to study computers, right?
I did. So I started music young. I got my first cut as a songwriter when I was 12. I got a Webb Pierce cut.
Yes, that's right. I remember hearing that story.
Yeah.
And telling that a few times.
Yeah, the probably the song I regret the most, honestly.
Really?
No. Kidding.
You're probably still getting royalties on that. It probably put you through college.
It didn't, but...
It didn't?
Thank you. I did have a lot of fun with it as I got older, and I was a drummer in a 3-piece band, and we were touring around all the honky-tonks, and you'd find it on the jukebox.
Yeah.
In every bar. That Webb Pierce, it was the B-side of a 45 back then, and the other guys in the band would get about $5 worth of quarters and load that jukebox up and play that song back to back and just tell me how awful it was. This is the worst. I hate this song. This song sucks. I hate this song. And I'm like, man, I can't find your crappy song on this jukebox anywhere. I'm looking. I can't. I never find your song.
At least yours was there, right?
Yeah, my crappy song's on the jukebox.
You were 12 years old when you wrote it. What
I was 12.
Expect?
Dude, I just finished 6th grade. I just got out of 6th grade and wrote that song. And,
oh, man.
And it got Webb Pierce. If you don't know Webb Pierce, Webb Pierce was the rhinestone guy.
Yeah.
And the long Cadillac with the longhorns on the hood of it.
Oh yeah, that's I think it's in the Hall of Fame, Country Music Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and the guitar-shaped swimming pool. All that kind of iconography.
Yeah.
It was Webb Pierce.
Yeah.
So to get a Webb Pierce cover.
Who would you compare him to today? I mean,
man,
I'm trying to think like a.
Who's got style like that? I don't know, man.
That's
Who's
probably
over the top style?
I can't think of who you compare that to.
Man.
But anyway, awesome story. Yeah.
So, it's fun. So I was writing, and I had the songwriting then, and had the garage bands and this, that, and the other, and was making money.
Now, when you talk garage band, you're not talking about the program on Apple.
No, I'm
talking about it in your garage.
Yeah, me and my buddies who are all like me, sons of other studio musicians. So we had a good band, and we would play gigs and around town. And then mom, dad divorced and ended up in Texas, and where mother's from. My mother's side of the family, they were all musicians too. And I did Ancestry and found out they were the ones that would play all the barn dances, the harmonica, and the pioneer days.
Wow.
The 1800s and early 1900s, before electricity and stuff, and they'd all get together once a year, and it was my mother's side of the family, and they were harmonica and guitar and fiddle, and they were the entertainers. So I got it on both sides of the family.
That's unbelievable.
Isn't that interesting? So
yeah, very interesting.
It's
in your blood, my friend.
Yeah, and I had a 10-piece band. I had 2 bands down in Texas, and then I think the more successful one was the 10-piece band. We were doing a lot of 80s music, and we had a record deal out of L.A. with Target Records. And,
nice.
And then a couple 3 albums, I think, out of that band, and toured up and down Interstate 35 and east and west on Interstate 10. That was kind of our route. Wow. And we played the college circuit, and we'd play kind of corporate gigs, and we made a lot of money, for kids.
What'd you call the band? Did you say?
Well, that band was called Spirits of the Night, which is kind of a Bruce Springsteen tribute. So we did covers, and then we had our own songs, and we had a horn section. So it was really like the E Street Band.
Wow.
And it was. I mean,
tell me you've got some recordings.
There are recordings, and there are newspaper articles, and there were laws passed in cities because we put up so many playbills.
That's crazy.
We used to. We were in. We'd go to Laredo, and then we'd go
before Facebook and Instagram.
Before, yeah. So, we'd do gigs down in Mexico.
Great.
Oh man, it was a blast because you could drink, as a teenager down there.
Yeah.
And
didn't matter.
Nah.
Yeah.
They didn't card you.
Very cool.
If you had they just wanted to see the green. If you got the money, they'll serve you the beer.
So was it because you've lived that musician and songwriter life?
Yeah.
And you were just looking for different things, and computers were really starting to come into their own then, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I was really good at 2 things: music and computers.
And computers.
In high school, I went to a private Catholic school, and the physics teacher had introduced me to the computer, and man, I was just
hooked. Huh?
I was hooked.
Yeah.
So I thought I didn't want to go to school and study music because I'm already doing music.
Yeah.
I'm already making a living.
Yeah.
And
what more can you? Learn?
Yeah. So there's plenty to learn.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there's not.
Yeah.
I just thought I'll study something else as a fallback. As an option.
Fallback.
Yeah, as an option. And so I did. They didn't have just a computer science degree. It was electrical engineering with a minor in computer science.
Okay.
So that's what I went. I went to Texas A&M for a couple of years, and then switched over to University of Texas in San Antonio. Because Mom lived real close to the campus, and we didn't have to pay for housing.
Oh, that's good.
So switched. Got 3.5 years into it, and. Took a break, went back up to Nashville. I was going back and forth to Nashville at Christmas times and summers. Right. San Antonio, Laredo to Nashville or Austin, back to Nashville. And I hadn't been back in Nashville 8 hours, and I landed a job as a drummer on a tour. So and the University of Texas had said, wait a year because our computer science program isn't accredited yet. Come back after a year and we'll have our accreditation. We don't want you to graduate until we get our accreditation. I said, that's fine. I'll do that.
Makes sense. So you went on the road again.
So I went back on the road, and then I started making good money, and I never did go back,
Yeah.
And then I met a girl, up in Tennessee, which is kind of, I felt Tennessee was home. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I go back and forth to Texas all the time.
Yeah. Still today?
Even today.
Even today?
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Now, so today, what do you do?
So I met this girl. Mm-hmm. This was 1987, and computers and MIDI programming.
Right.
You get a keyboard that had a MIDI interface on it.
Right.
And you get a Roland TR-707 drum machine.
Okay.
So that crap put me out of a job. It did. It put me out. So all the little bar gigs, the little house gigs that I was doing around town, the singers just would get a keyboard and program the keyboard. So I just charged them to program the keyboard, program the MIDI stuff, and then I wasn't playing anymore. And so my girlfriend at the time we're still married today, but she came in to my bedroom. This was November, about this.
Love Carrie. I care.
And she said, "You need to get a job because Christmas is coming and I want presents." You know. So I went and got an IT job, and I've been doing IT for 37 years.
37 years.
37 years. I did music. IT, of course, you got your health insurance and you got your regular paycheck.
Sure.
And you got that security.
Yeah.
And that freed me up to do the music that I wanted to do and the gigs that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to go out on the road. I could just do the local stuff.
Right.
I called it FU money. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do know what you're saying. That's great.
That was my FU money. So that was my attitude, because you run into a lot of crap out on the road when you're trying to make a living doing music. Yeah, so IT gave me that FU money.
FU money, love it.
And so I did a lot of I did programming, worked in manufacturing and healthcare. I did a pretty good stint in cybersecurity.
Okay.
And I won't talk about it too much, but it became, I did 5 startups out of Silicon Valley.
Oh, that's great.
And as I participated, they weren't my companies, but I participated. I would build the sales engineering and the tech support groups, for example, and did a lot of cybersecurity and did a lot of work for DoD, Department of Defense, Department of Energy, the NNSA and some of the others, and
wow,
out in the DC and Virginia area, and Army intelligence, and I did a lot of stuff with them from a computer perspective. Worked with the folks in Fort Meade, which is interesting. They take you into these places where you have to call ahead.
Yeah,
it's a meeting. They requested the meeting. But you call ahead before you go out there about a half hour, and then you go out in the middle of nowhere, in Oklahoma or Texas, for example. Wow. And you pull up, and it's an empty guard shack with a building with a chain link fence around it, and there's not much, maybe one car in the parking lot. That's all you see. And you go up, the guard shack's empty, but they got all the cameras and stuff, and so you talk to them through the camera at the gate, and they'll open the gate, and they'll tell you where to park. And then you walk in, and it's an empty building, and it's like Men in Black. When you first go in, it's just empty and very industrial and sparse. And you sign in, and they'll tell you, go way over there. And there's the elevator, So, and go down to whatever floor, So you go down, and then you step off the elevator, and you sign some paperwork. And they've got a plexiglass tube that you step into, and you put your hand on the scanner, and it floor weighs you, and it blows air on you, and smells you to make sure whatever,
It's like a movie, Adronymous Strange.
And then so you step into the tube on one side, and then the other side opens up, and you go in, and then you go down this big hallway and you're underground.
Yeah.
These giant data centers underground out in the middle of nowhere. And it's interesting,
Crazy.
And you can't I've been places where you can't take anything. Like, how am I supposed to help you out here if I can't bring any software? They're like, well, bring it on a CD. And then hand it over when you get to when you check in at the guard shack. Hand it over to them, and then they'll walk you in and blah blah blah, and then take you down into the bowels of the NSA and hand stuff over and
wow.
And it's very interesting, but it can be a little intense.
I'll bet.
I got out of cybersecurity and moved more into just networking and security vendors, IT vendors. So start working, on the vendor side. Yeah. That company eventually became AT&T Cybersecurity after I left.
So when you started this was before the internet, really, right?
Yeah, it was before the internet. And one of the companies that I worked for, we made a lot of products, and I traveled the world getting people onto the internet in the dial-up days. We made a lot of that dial-up equipment. Yeah. That people would sit at home and you want to dial up to the internet. We made that equipment that you would dial into. So I would be down in Panama and Bogota and Colombia. And
at the time that was going on, did you ever fathom in your mind how it was going to affect the music industry? Yes. In the early days of Napster, I knew, because we were doing file sharing
early on, before the applications, you would upload files
Right.
Via dial-up. Sometimes you get a circuit from the phone company, so you're always on, but they're slow, not like today, But you could share files. It might take an hour to share a file, not that big a file, But
remember those days.
And so I knew music was going to be a part of that because people were sharing pictures. And adult content was really the number one driver for innovation on the internet. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. I just knew music was going to follow because you could rip. We were getting music on CDs.
Yes, we were.
Once it's on a CD, it's on the computer, and then you can rip it from there and share music. And so then here comes Napster and some of the other peer-to-peer services where you could just share music for free. Right. And the record companies were kind of asking for it. They were treating the ownership of music like a monopoly, and the ownership of artists as well. I think they were mistreating their consumers, so that was a consumer backlash. Is really to me what that was.
Okay.
But
Makes sense.
It hurt. It hurt the songwriting community. It hurt Nashville. I mean, studios were shutting down. Because people weren't getting paid.
Yeah.
For their music.
And you said earlier, how MIDI and the drum machines putting you out of business as a session drummer.
Well, just as a bar guy. Yeah.
And today, I can't imagine how programs like Suno are going to affect.
So fast forward, I work for a company that does AI infrastructure. So and I work with a big server manufacturer that we all know, and most people probably have one of their computers on their table right now. And I work with them on the AI servers that they build because they consume so much power and they require so much. We work with NVIDIA. We're partnered with NVIDIA, and we're partnered with the company I work for with Dell, Lenovo, Supermicro, and all these other server manufacturers. And I work with one of those specific manufacturers and making sure that we have the right kind of power and that we have the right kind of cooling.
It takes a lot of power and cooling, doesn't it?
Listen, so a data center computer rack, might eat up traditionally, 8 kilowatts, 10 kilowatts of power, maybe 12 kilowatts of power. Wow. And now just 2 power supplies on an AI server is that.
Wow.
And an AI server has 6 power supplies,
Unbelievable.
And those AI servers, they run so hot. Cooling a data center isn't about comfort cooling like we think of at home. We're going to turn on the AC. Right. It's about heat extraction. It's about mixing cold air or cold liquid so that you can extract heat off of that thing and carry it out, basically carry it outside. So it's heat extraction. That's the name of the game.
That is so cool. And, when I was working in radio in Cincinnati, our tower, our FM tower, was the same as WLW's. Yeah. Ours was right on top. And so I got to tour that old transmitter site. And Rob, Trey, I can kind of compare this to what you're going through.
Yeah.
And with this story, they had the original transmitter in there when WLW went on the air, and this was like in the 20s, 30s. And the transmitter alone was the size of a locomotive.
Oh, yeah.
And it was tubes then.
Yes.
Were taller
huge.
than me. Yeah. So it took a lot of energy to run a 250,000 watt station. That's what they were at the time. AM station. And that's where they did the fireside chats. Roosevelt did But anyway, and the engineers didn't know if when they turned this on, was the sky going to fall? They didn't understand what was going to happen, right? Yeah. But they knew they needed a lot to cool it. So what they would do is run water through, and they had the retention pond is still out there.
Sure.
And they would spray the water into the field to cool it down, and then suck it back in. So, so that's way back in the 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
And today I can't imagine.
So these things run so hot. Yeah. You have to use it's a hybrid approach of air and liquid cooling.
Yeah.
And the liquid cooling, you've got to worry about, the pressure. You got to worry about the flow rate. You got to worry about the temperature. There are a lot of variables that you have to keep up with. And it has to be super, super, super clean because that interface between the liquid cooling and the chips, the GPU chips, the CPUs, and anything else that's
incredible
cooled with a cold plate, has 100 micron channels, so about the width of a hair,
Unreal.
and you're pushing, gallons of or multiple liters per minute through that.
Unbelievable.
And so you got to have 50 micron filtration, so it's got to be uber clean.
Yeah.
And all kinds of redundancy, and they run so hot. If you lose it altogether, if you lose your flow of cooling completely, you got 1 second to shut it down.
1 second.
1 second to turn the server off, or you burn the chips up, and the chips are like $50,000 plus a piece.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, those NVIDIA chips are 50,000 plus each, and they'll have eight in there, just that chip.
What I can't imagine is what's involved. Everything you just said involved just for the chips and the computers.
Yeah.
How you can put a work tape. I could take a guitar vocal right now. We could write a song.
Yeah.
Take a guitar vocal and put it into Suno. In the matter of seconds,
Yeah.
it produces a full demo.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how it's done. It seems like magic to me.
Yeah. Yeah. There's enough. It's sampled enough out there that it's recognized. It depends on the LLM or the learning module and the
This is
algorithms
what I
that you
want to
apply
get into.
it.
This is what I want to get into.
There are different types of LLMs for different data sets.
LLM.
The learning, that's
The learning
the
part.
the data set that you use to train the AI to produce different output based on the data sets that you've provided. Now, let's say you're a pharmaceutical company.
Yeah, wait.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get into that,
Yeah.
let me take a quick break. But that's exactly what I want to talk about when we come back.
Yeah.
Don't go away. Songwriter Connection, Trey Ackerman is our guest, and we're talking AI.
Yeah.
You're listening to the Songwriter Connection with Dave Linehan. Find us on Facebook and YouTube at the Songwriter Connection Podcast. And find Dave at thedaveconnection.com. Now back to the show with your host, Dave Linehan.
I'm enjoying such a wonderful bourbon as I talk to Trey Ackerman today. Thank you again for this.
Oh, absolutely.
Pretty amazing. Listen, if you're listening on YouTube, we are not a video podcast, except for the one we did on December the 12th. That's streaming everywhere. But hit like and subscribe for me, because that really helps. You get our subscribers up, we can start monetizing there too, and that would be a big help. Also, if you've got a Spotify playlist, if you listen, we have a playlist called The Songs, Songwriter Connection podcast, The Songs. And every Wednesday when we publish early in the morning, Central Time, United States, 2 a.m., I publish a couple of songs from the interviews that we do. So please like that, stream that. You just won't believe some of the great songs you're going to hear from some of the awesome songwriters that we've had on this show in the past. Trey Ackerman is back. Now, this is what I don't understand.
Yeah.
We're talking AI.
Yeah.
So we talked about how all the chips and all the energy it takes and all the cooling it takes. What I don't understand is how it learns to do this.
Yeah. So LLM is I guess, large language model.
Okay.
It's the data set that the AI server is going to use and parse in order to come up with, derivative output based on that LLM. So if let me just say this: if you're in the pharmaceutical industry, you put in drugs and chemistry and all the rules and the math and everything that goes along with that. And then you give the AI server the task of trying all these different iterations of drug interactions and what have you. And because a GPU chip is different from a CPU chip, a CPU might have 8 cores to it. So it can do like 8 things at once.
What's the difference? What's GPU?
GPU is the AI processor. It has millions of cores. So it can do millions of simple tasks all at the same time, concurrently. Whereas a CPU is going to do, it's got 8 cores, but it's much more complicated. So you're running applications like Word and Excel, whatever.
And music being all digital today, it's all ones and zeros.
Everything is digital. Yeah. And so and GPU chips are really good at processing extreme amounts of data, but it's simple information. It's simple data.
Okay.
In a very fast amount of time. So that's why they were so popular with video games. They were doing vector graphics. So graphics was a simple calculation for NVIDIA's video cards that you would, when you were building a computer and you want to know, you got an NVIDIA video card, you got a high-end one, then your video games would play really well and you'd have really good graphics.
Wow.
Based on the computational power of that chip and the fact that calculating video geometry and where to place pixels and stuff is a simple calculation.
Yep.
So they could do that fast. Now, fast forward to today, a couple decades later, and now NVIDIA is doing the same thing, but for as an AI platform, right, with large language models. And so music and language, they just treat it as a data set that AI can parse based on the algorithms that companies like OpenAI and Google's Gemini, the way their programmers program those applications to be able to use those data sets, but they train them based on those data sets. And I think that's kind of the magic there is it's got enough of your data, enough of it's. They've been training on everything that's available on the internet, every book that's on the internet when they Google,
Isn't that amazing?
Everybody's website, social media, any of that stuff goes in. They suck it up like a vacuum.
Wow. Your
personal information, that you've made available through agreements that when you download an app, all that stuff, the tracking, all that becomes a valuable metadata for AI, these AI companies to be able to train these AI servers. And the output, I call it derivative because it's trained on stuff that we've already created.
Okay.
And has been placed out there. So
I've heard people in the songwriting room say, well, I don't want it learning on my songs.
And so here's to me there's a productive way to use it.
Yep.
And we're talking on the creative side, right?
On the creative side.
There's the creative side, there's the business side, there's the utility side. There are different we'll call it, let's just silo this, Let's talk about on the creativity side as a songwriter, where we want to use AI to create. I don't have a problem writing my song and using AI like a thesaurus.
There you go.
Because I have a thesaurus.
Right. You can look it up.
A book with phrases and things like that. I'm looking for a better word for some thought, and I'll either look it up in a book or I'll go on Google. AI is just a better tool for
you can
for
get
that.
There faster.
Yeah,
right?
You get there faster. Yeah. I'm not gonna give. To me, giving AI a couple of prompts. I want to write a song that's got
which it can
trains and mamas and pickup trucks and I want it in this genre about 3 minutes and 15 seconds long. Give it kind of that prompt and let it produce some output.
Yeah.
To me, that's not songwriting. That's just AI. You're just prompting AI to produce something, and it's only producing something based on the LLM, which is a data set of data of existing material from other people. You know what I'm saying?
I do. But what I can't understand is how, again, I do a simple guitar vocal. I upload it and I can actually record right into the Suno program.
Yeah.
In a matter of a minute, I get 2 demos.
Yeah.
And I can adjust it from there.
Use it as a work tape.
That's how I use it as a work tape.
Put it together as a work tape.
Yes.
And then go into the studio and say, this is what I'm going for, this kind of thing.
That's how I use it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't have a problem with that.
Because the first thing a producer
all.
will say is, what's the vibe? What are you looking for? Do you have a model song?
Mm-hmm.
I go, this is it right here. Yeah. Can you do this?
Sometimes you can't do that with just a vocal and a guitar. You can't always get that idea across.
But with some prompts, I can, and I can take some time.
You can hone it.
It may take 10, 15 minutes to hone it the way I want it, but
I'm good with it, But I think people recognize too. When it's AI output, and they're put off by it.
Oh yeah, a lot of people are
like this fast food restaurant that had an AI produced commercial, and everybody was like,
nah.
And so they had to pull it off the internet.
Or the
recently.
guy quite recently, and I can't even think of his name, but he created the Breaking Rust fake artist with AI written songs and the AI picture of him, and it makes it to number one on the digital charts.
Wouldn't the record companies just love that? Because then they don't have to deal with personalities anymore. They don't have to deal with contracts. They just own it. They own everything.
Now, see but
it's not.
That's wrong.
Yeah, to me, that's wrong.
That's wrong.
That's wrong. And I would completely.
I always called him faking Rust. Actually,
I would totally boycott that.
There was an article that. The songwriter Jason Bloom posted on Facebook that I thought was just fascinating. Now, I'm not saying he did this, but what he was saying was he researched how many. It's based on digital sales, that chart,
right?
So, and not too many people are buying songs, right? They're streaming them for free.
Yes.
So he researched how many digital sales would it take to drive a song to number one.
Yeah.
And it was surprisingly low. It was like $3,000, $4,000. Now, if one song is 99 cents on Apple Music, if you invest another $3,000, $3,500 into your song, you can have a number one song. And that guy got millions of dollars worth of promotion if he did it this way, because everybody was talking about that AI number one song.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. There's so many. It's moving so fast. It's hard to keep up with.
I can't imagine what's next. And
I think
Trey, I was talking to my friend Martin Buchanan. We did just a few weeks back. Martin and I did a talk about AI and how it's changing the industry and in some of the ethics involved, which I think there has to be some guardrails. I really believe there are. And he is a digital. This is what he does now. He produces videos, not only music videos, but documentaries and corporate videos and things like that. He's done all three of my music videos that are out there.
Yeah.
And he's just so talented. And he was telling me today that he's been experimenting with AI video.
Sure.
And it's pretty amazing. It's getting harder and harder to tell what's real and what isn't, isn't it?
Yeah. It's getting better. It's definitely getting better. I think China's kind of got us there a little bit right now. They're ahead of us in some of the quality of the output itself, you know. And they've got the power. They've got the excess power that you need to run the servers and the data centers. You know, they've got double the capacity that we've got. We're struggling to come up with power. A lot of these hyperscaler computing companies, and you know, Amazon and Microsoft Azure and a lot of these other big companies that provide data center services. We call them hyperscalers. You know, Musk's XAI and all that.
Gotcha.
They where am I going with this? So yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought there.
Okay.
There's a lot. So let me just say this. As they grow, and then as AI adoption expands into enterprise industry, small, medium-sized businesses, large businesses, universities, education, you know, that sort. As it starts getting adopted by these other companies, they're searching for power. There are utility companies that are telling their customers, you can't hook up AI servers. We don't have the excess power for you. You can't build your data center here.
Wow.
A lot of it's going in Virginia. You know, what these companies are doing is they're buying their own power first. They're coming up with their own power generation. So OpenAI and Microsoft, I think, are starting up the third reactor at 3 Mile Island to power their AI servers.
Unbelievable.
So we're oh yeah, man. So,
man.
Yeah, these micro fission reactors, the cold we call them cold reactors, I guess.
Yeah.
People are starting to really get into bring your own power.
Bring your own power.
And this is what we're talking about. So small nuclear power generation. You don't want to do it with solar because it takes too much.
So you see a lot of offshoot businesses popping up.
Oh yes.
To support AI.
Oh yeah. Yep. Big data centers coming up in Texas, Virginia. Yep. I think.
Let alone building the chips, right?
Yeah. That's why Nvidia's worth what they're worth.
Yeah.
Trillions of dollars.
Trillions.
Yeah. Can you even imagine? I can't
No.
even imagine that. And they're talking about putting data centers into outer space, into medium Earth orbit, low Earth orbit, medium Earth orbit.
Really?
They're talking about putting data. Well, they're not going to be able to. They're going to have to improve their reactors, and they've got to improve cooling because in outer space, it's a photon evaporation in ultraviolet. So you got to have these huge radiators that just radiate energy, photons in the ultraviolet spectrum.
Unbelievable.
That's the heat going out. So you got to point your radiators toward cold space and have them on a 90-degree angle to the sun and to the earth, so that they'll radiate. But we're talking, on the orders of football fields worth of panels.
Unbelievable.
In order to radiate that, you do better putting it on the moon. I think.
Really?
Yeah, and then you can have several reactors in line. And you have a crew quarter. You have your field where you have your radiation, where you radiate the heat, and then you have your solar. Well, you wouldn't have solar because you'd still have your microfission reactors in parallel, and then run those in parallel, I think, and then those generate a lot of heat.
Oh yeah,
And
the heat of a star, right?
Oh man, well, it's like a reactor you would put on a sub, for example, maybe a little bit bigger than that. And right now they're small, they're less than a megawatt, and we're talking if you're going to do this, it needs to be 20 megawatts or more.
Incredible.
In order to do it, but then you've got to cool the stuff, so you've got to have the ability to radiate that heat, and in space it's a different trick.
Now I keep hearing about quantum computers. Is that going to be a reality? Do you think?
Oh, it's a reality
right
now. Yeah, it's a reality now.
Is that going to change things even more?
It's like a really good calculator.
Yeah.
In that you're, instead of counting things in zeros and ones, it's zeros and ones all at the same time.
Yeah.
It's everything all at once. So you can do a billion years worth of calculations in just a minute or so. Unreal. On a quantum computer, but it's a limited set of calculations that you can do. So it's not something you would use in a classical computer sense. It's different.
Yeah, it's different.
It's heavily math. So anything like encryption, once they use quantum computers to break encryption, once they figure that out, then no encryption is safe.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and so no secret is safe anymore.
No secret is safe. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Wow.
We're gonna go back to whispering in our neighbor's ear.
Yeah. Wow.
All this talking about tech. Let's get back towards AI and music, and I'll tell you.
Well, that's exactly what I wanted to do.
I'll tell you where I think it makes sense.
Tell me.
I would love for the publishing admins and the MLC and the people that go out and collect royalties, if they would use AI to go out and find more instances of where your music has been played, because they have to collect that money.
Good point.
And also they can use AI to look for derivative work. So if somebody makes something that's based on your work, or they're using samples of your work from your music, for example, AI can pick that up very, very easily. And so your administrative publisher or publishing admins that collect the money, and then your the MLC and these other organizations, performance rights organizations and what have you, that are responsible for tracking that. I think AI would serve the songwriter the best right there in helping collect royalty money. That's due to the songwriter. I think you'll see a big uptick if they'll leverage that. I don't know if they will. Maybe the listeners will. One of your listeners will go out there and create that software, and they'll
Wouldn't that be great?
Give us some credit.
That's great, because right now it's really hard.
Send us a bottle of bourbon for the night.
Absolutely.
So I think that's
bourbon money.
I think that's one good use of AI for songwriters. I think another good use is on the utility side. Yeah. Just like you talk about AI and creating videos, I think it's great in software tools, like Logic Pro and all the other recording software. If you use it as a utility to improve the quality of the edits that you're making, for example, use an AI tool in video to remove somebody from the picture, but also take all the audio, take all the dead space and wipe that. Use it. tell AI, hey, I'm going for this style of music. What's a good plug-in chain for this male vocalist that's a tenor? What's a good plug-in chain for an acoustic guitar and this style of music? And let this software work in a way that's much more that presents more ease of use. You don't have to be a genius to be able to run this software. If you'll just use the AI, if these software companies will use AI to prompt the users, and then set your Logic Pro up for your session, simply like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Use it to pull out stems,
right?
And separate stuff.
And I've known people that have done that. They pull the stems out, go into the studio, and maybe use some of the stems, but add your guitar, your bass, or your drums to it.
Use it as a tool.
Use it as a tool. Think about how long it used to be to drive a nail into a 2x4.
Yeah.
And then along comes this gun.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah. Use it as a tool. But AI can't replicate the human experience.
Can't.
It can regurgitate words. But I mean, if you go into AI, and I think a lot of us have done it. I've gone in there and said, "Write me a song about this," and it's horrible.
It's terrible.
It's terrible.
yeah. But will it get better? That's what I'm afraid of.
I don't think so, because the
human element, right?
The human element is missing, and I don't think it understands that sometimes you just need to make a left turn.
Yeah.
There's a little hook. There's a little twist of a phrase.
Yeah.
That
AI
doesn't get.
Yeah.
It doesn't get it, and I think the human mind can do that.
Yeah.
So
I
think you want the human mind to be the songwriter, and then use AI as a tool to enable you, make you a little bit more productive. If you're in a bit of a funk, go into AI and say, I'm in a funk and I want to write a song about Funky Tuesdays or whatever,
Any prompts for me today?
Just let it help you get you out of your little writer's block or something. Use it as a tool.
As a tool. Do you see guide rails coming at all?
I think we're going to have to. That's a really good question. It's a hard one to answer. I think when we legislate the use of AI output in competing with human output, like I don't want to compete for a spot on a chart with a record company who's doing everything in AI. They should have their own charts and their own output and their own award show. If they want to. I don't think it should compete with the people that are working as artists. So I think that we may have to legislate that, but it may sort itself out.
Yeah, maybe it will.
Because I think people recognize it, for what it is. But we have electronic music. People love electronic music, but you've got a DJ up there that's
doing that.
That's piloting that ship.
Yeah.
And I think if we, I think our taste buds,
are changing.
Will help provide some guide rails, but I think there's going to need to be some legislation when it comes to AI, because again, I say these large language models are built on the content that we have created over the years, that they have ingested, and they use that. So when it does do output, it's derivative of something that it's already got in its LLM.
That's right.
In its data set. So
I just can't believe how I can find it that fast.
Yeah, well, that's the process.
Well,
it's these huge hyperscaler data centers,
crazy,
and these NVIDIA chips that can process zillions of transactions per second at the same time. So processing a music file is nothing.
Oh, crazy.
Find me a word that rhymes with. Magic potion. It's going to do it.
It's going to do it.
Yeah, it's going to do it. It's going to be quick.
When I was a kid and I used to listen to radio, which was the technology of the day, it was magic to me.
Yeah.
I didn't know how it worked or why, but I didn't care.
Yeah.
And now it's like the same thing today, but only with AI
and
what's happening there. But, I think back just a few years ago, in studios they have these plugins. You can plug in. You want a symphony. You want violins and cellos and stuff. We got that. And they play it through. But even the Beatles did it with the Mellotron. But it was physical tape. That was it was all on audio tape.
I think a lot of that is they pay for it now. So if you're going to sample it, you're going to pay for those samples, and so those people that perform that, they're going to get some money for it.
Yeah.
If everybody plays by the rules, not everybody does, but I think there are guardrails in place for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And AI will probably catch up.
Yeah, I think so.
But there are those people who are going to take advantage of it as quick as they can, try to make as much money right up front as they can.
Like breaking rust.
Before somebody comes in and puts the brakes on that.
So what do you think is the next generation? I remember playing with Suno before 5.0 came out and see how much difference it was and how much better it was.
Yeah.
What do you see, next 5-10 years?
I think
going to be?
So I use AI, right? I play with it. I dabble with it. I'll write something and I will upload it and say, what do you think it is? Give me an analysis of this verse and chorus. What am I trying to say here?
That's a good tool.
And it either gets me or it doesn't get me, and I haven't written it right. I'm not getting the message across.
I've never used it for that, and I'm going to try that.
I have used it for that, and I find that to be very effective. It'll ask you, do you want me to help you finish another verse? No, I don't need all that.
Don't need that. Right.
I just need the analysis as what I'm trying to say coming across. And so I found that to be useful.
Interesting.
In songwriting, and then that's about all I do with it.
That's about all I do with it too.
I'm writing. I'm writing a couple of books, and I use AI to help organize my thoughts and to help because it's a lot. When you're doing character development, and when you're trying to do backstories for all of your characters, and when you're trying to do a story, multiple arcs for these different characters as you progress through the stories. I'm finding AI is helpful in keeping track of that.
Gotcha.
I can be a little bit disorganized, and I used to use mind mapping software. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Mind mapping?
Mind mapping software.
Not
it's
at
bubbles that you connect with lines,
Okay.
It's like writing on a whiteboard and using Post-it notes. You organize with Post-it notes and stuff.
Gotcha.
And I have a granddaughter, so I can't do that, because
So you're taking them. Yeah.
So I'll use AI to help me with my organization.
Yeah.
And I'm finding that to be really useful. I'm working on a sci-fi book right now, and I'm using AI to help with some of the mathematics.
Gotcha.
To explain some of the technology in the sci-fi. There's got to be some real math, and it's been so long for me. I don't have the physics.
Wait a minute. Did we just add another thing to your resume as author?
I suppose. Yeah, you may have.
You're writing a science fiction?
It's a science fiction. I'm trying to leverage some of the current information around UFOs and UAP and all this discussion and psionics and big topic today.
Yeah.
Well, I saw a couple of UFOs when I was a kid. They literally flew over the top of the house going about 5 miles an hour. Oh, I'm still in ontological shock from that. I'll be honest with you.
Wow.
It was surreal, and so I've always been fascinated by it. And I find that 99% of what's out there is just bunk, and so I've always been interested in what's really there.
Yeah.
And I had an uncle who was a colonel in the Air Force, and he was a chief of police. He's passed on, but he was deputy chief of police at Wright-Patterson. He was chief of police at Nellis Air Force Base and some others. So he was long. And I had asked him one time what was... I was out in Vegas when he was chief of police at Nellis, and I said, "How many aliens you got out here locked up, and can I meet any of them?" Just teasing him, I was giving him crap because he's my uncle,
Yeah.
And he said, "You know what my favorite movie is?" And I said, "No." He goes, Fire in the Sky.
Fire in the Sky.
Fire in the Sky. He goes, "That's my favorite UFO movie."
How's that? Travis, what was his name?
Yeah, that Travis Watkins story.
Watkins, yeah.
So that was his response when I said, "Hey, how many aliens you got stashed out here, and can I meet any of them?" Just teasing him.
Yeah.
And he goes, "You know what my favorite UFO movie is?" No, Fire in the Sky. That's my favorite UFO. And then he just changed the subject.
That's it.
And come to find out later, he was also counterintelligence. So I think that was his way of answering without answering.
Yeah.
You know. So it just kept me curious. You know. So anyway, I'm writing a book about the technology.
That's awesome.
And the pilots. You know, how do humans pilot this sort of thing, and how do you move from point A to point B?
Well, I can't wait to read it.
Yeah, it's like you draw something on a piece of paper, like a circle on a piece of paper, and then you rotate it off that piece of paper, and that went from 2D to 3D. So the way this craft is going to move in the story is it rotates into a higher dimension. Once you're in that higher dimension, then you can move anywhere and at any time. So the idea, the arc is they make these small. They go back in time and place like a little tungsten device with some cesium radiation in there, and then come back to the future again. They take a radiation measurement of it and come back to the future, and it should still be there. Take another radiation reading off of it, and did the timeline change? Did the radiation level decay as expected based on the number of years that it's been? And so the idea is how they're testing whether or not they can make these little micro changes in the past without altering the timeline in the future, and how far can they push it?
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So that's going to be an interesting
should be. I can't wait to read it.
Story. Yeah. How far can they push it, and then there's all these conflicts with the people that
it could be what that Mandela effect is all about. Have you ever been down that rabbit hole?
I haven't, but it sounds interesting.
It is. Oh yeah. Check it out.
So that's that's something that I'm doing, and then I'll get inspired and write a song too. You know?
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's great. That's very good. Well, I think we need to leave it there, my friend. Thank you for helping us understand what it is. And the magic behind it, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, brother.
Enjoyed our conversation.
It's been great.
We have to have you back when we talk more about music rather than AI and all that stuff. Because
technology.
You are an amazing songwriter and performer.
Thank you, brother.
And my only regret is we didn't get a chance for you to pick up that guitar and play live around the dining room table like we like to do.
I can tune it for you real quick.
We're good. We'll get it next time for sure.
Sounds
Folks,
good.
Thanks for listening, and I hope this was as educational to you as it was to me. And as I always say, right on, WRITE.
We hope you enjoyed this intimate glimpse into the world of songwriting and found inspiration in the stories shared by our talented guests. Remember, the magic of music lies not only in the notes and chords, but in the emotions and experiences woven into every lyric. Until next time, keep listening, keep creating, and keep the melodies alive.